New Mexico, the home of the Roadrunner. Meet me. New Mexico is famous for a few things, like Breaking Bad. Stop right there. I'm not gonna do my cheap name-dropping historical references or silly jokes. Instead, I'm gonna let the videos tell the story while I remain quiet. Yeah, that's it. Just let the video tell the story. 3, 2, 1. That's it. That's all I can stand. I can't shut up. Cross over into New Mexico, and just like Arizona, there's a lot of vacant land out here. And I can envision rows and rows of townhouses right here. We can be hospitable to our immigrant neighbors from the South. And best of all, we won't even have to change the name. New Mexico. This has to be the Kansas of the South. There's nobody out here. You know, the time changes have got me a little bit confused as we're traveling. You get out to California, you got to readjust your clock. You have to move it back 3 hours. And then you get into New Mexico, you have to change it again, move it ahead an hour. And then when you get into Texas, you have to change your clock to 1950. You know, I always hear the expression, America, the greatest country in the world. And I never really understood that. I grew up and lived my whole life on Staten Island. But coming across country like this makes me understand what they're talking about. It truly is a great country. You're just beautiful. Now let's blow it up. Watching the noon news in El Paso. ¿Qué?
En la calle Paseo de la Huerta y Paseo del Bosque Sur durante la...
Ay caramba, las niñas. Here we are in El Paso. I have my water shoes. I'm gonna wade into Mexico.
I'm gonna go off with the trash thing. You can lock that up.
She's got to take care of business first, but I'm going to Mexico. I wasn't able to find the Rio Grande, but we got as close to the wall as we possibly can. But they built a highway, and a couple of geriatrics like ourselves, we'd have trouble crossing the highway, never mind scaling that wall. Doesn't look like we're gonna get into Mexico. To all my friends in Mexico, we'll have to wait for another day to meet.
Looks better over there than over here.
Well, it always looks greener on the other side of the fence.
That X, the sculpture, or La Equis, is located in Juarez, Mexico, on the south bank of the Rio Grande. Designed by Mexican sculptor Enrique Garabal Gonzalez, the two towers intersecting in an X shape represents the merging of two cultures in Mexico, the indigenous Aztecs and the Spanish.
We couldn't find access to the Rio Grande River, so we decided to go to the pool in the hot tub campground. How's the hot tub? It's great. We're moving on, heading east towards Dallas. Wow, check this out. I am an American citizen. I am from Nueva York.
Mucho Muchas gracias.
Soy el agua que mata tu sed, el castillo, la torre, yo soy la espada.
This part of the trip, we were going about 600 miles northeast from El Paso to Dallas. I don't want to sound like a hater, but this part of the trip had nothing good to offer. The air stunk from the petroleum and the processing. So much so, we were afraid to stop overnight at the RV campgrounds and breathe that air. It smelled like Elizabeth, New Jersey. We pushed on about halfway to Dallas. None of this part of the trip looked like a place to recreate, so we just kept driving. No sooner did we pass through the oil wells, we see the windmills. I guess not everyone is a big fan of big oil in Texas. Get it? Fan? Big oil? Texas?
Dallas.
Here we are in Dallas, Texas, sitting by the pool. Just talking about the cost of RVing. You know, RVing might not be as cheap as people expect. You know, places like this, a KOA, a little more expensive than some of the other campgrounds we've stayed in. But $75, $80 a night, figure it out, do the math. 30 days, $80, that's $2,400 a month. So most apartments aren't that expensive, no matter where you live. Although if you live in LA, it's probably going to cost you a bit more. And at this moment, our New York Giants are playing Dallas Cowboys right here in Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys have beaten the Giants like they're a Pop Warner team. It's just disgraceful. By the time I get back home, I don't know if the Giants are even going to be in the NFL. They lost so many games.
The line of storms moving east now into northwestern Collin
Get
County.
some
Salina,
serious weather
Prosper,
here in
Frisco.
Dallas.
Heads up, you're likely seeing at least
Tornado
50-mile-an-hour
warnings.
winds with this line of storms
You can
here.
hear
And then as we head farther northward
You know,
into Grayson County,
the rain
you
on the
folks under
roof,
a
the
severe
lightning, the
thunderstorm warning
thunder.
as well until 9:45, and that line is advancing very quickly
Trailer
towards
is
Sherman,
rocking.
Dennison, Howe, and Van Alstyne with quite a bit
This
of
is
cloud
something
ground
else you
lightning
should
activity
consider when you're
associated with it.
RVing.
And because it is moving so fast, we've already got downstream warnings in effect here for Fannin County and Hunt County.
Just entering the city of Dallas. Here we are in Dallas at the Texas School Book Depository. That second window from the top on the far right is where the shooter, Lee Harvey Oswald, was perched during the President Kennedy assassination in 1963. This is the famous grassy knoll where cheering spectators stood and witnessed their United States President being assassinated. The motorcade came down this street, made a left, and that's when the fatal shots were fired. Right up there is the window, presently obscured by trees. Is the spot some say the fatal shot couldn't have been made because of the trees. This is the very spot where I'm standing, where the president was shot.
Kind of eerie.
Some people standing here say that they heard shots coming from behind the fence, leading speculation that there was a second shooter.
As we go around this corner,
There's the conservative depository building.
and this is the route. We're making a right. The president was coming.
From the opposite
Please turn
direction.
next right.
To left. And we go right past the grassy knoll, right over where the president was shot.
Yep.
Here's the grassy knoll.
Grassy knoll.
Bear right after 400 feet.
And here's people standing on the
Here's
X.
the X.
That guy looked like my neighbor. Although the passage of the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote in this country in 1920, women in Texas weren't allowed to serve on juries until 1954. Even when female judges presided over the very courts, they weren't allowed to serve on the jury.
What time is it?
I don't know. Since I've been here in Texas, my watch has been set to 1950.